Good. Now let's start this session. Recording has been started. Screen sharing has been started as well. And this session will be started with giving you the brief overview of what we had done last time around. We had discussed two things, if you can recall it a bit. Thing number one was we had discussed how to identify any capital asset in a short term or a long term. Now, that is dependent on the number of months for which you have hold this capital asset. That number of months criteria is different for the various types of assets. We have seen that. Now, that is something which is the exercise of remembrance. You will have to remember it. You will have to memorize this. Over there is not much complexities are involved. The only thing which will be tested over there is your memory. Along with that, we had also discussed about the rates of taxation. Now, when it comes to the long-term capital gains or a short-term capital gains, the rates of taxation are different. Short-term capital gain, again, the rates of taxation are bifurcated further, and the long-term capital gains as well are bifurcated further. That is again something which is the matter of remembrance. Do not require much of inputs from the faculty member because that is something which needs to be memorized. Yes, I can tell you that how to memorize those things effectively. You should prepare though that particular thing we have discussed in a chart format, and if you try to recall it by visualizing the chart, it becomes little bit easy for you to remember it. So that is one part. Because I have seen that whenever you try to discuss something, whenever I teach something in a bit of a visual manner, where certain charts and some hierarchies are used, some flowcharts are used, people are able to recall it more. So that's the only advice I can give to you because that is something which is related to your memory. Now let's move further. Today, once it is decided that what is short term, what is long term, whether the LTCG needs to be charged or the STCG needs to be charged, after that, the format of capital gains computation needs to be discussed. So everyone should be able to see the format here. Let's discuss the format of short-term capital gains. Very easy to understand. First of all, you have the full value of consideration received or accruing as a result of transfer. Now see, they have used two words. When it comes to the tax laws, whether it is a corporate tax or an income tax or any other tax, your focus must be more on the words which they have used. Because the interpretation based on your words can change your entire perspective. So they have used two words. One is received or accruing. So it's not always required that you have received something from your capital asset. It's accruing too, right? That means if the transfer has taken a place, but the consideration is not received yet, still the capital gains can be charged on it. That is the interpretation. But for that, the transfer must have taken a place, number one thing. So from this, you can again identify that the receipt of consideration is again not a mandatory criteria, yes or no. No one can say that, sir, I haven't received the consideration yet, so that I'll not be able to pay the capital gains tax. No, if it was a transfer, even though you haven't received it yet, but it has accrued, you will have to pay the tax on it. Less the expenditure incurred wholly and exclusively. Again, use the words wholly and exclusively. That means those expenses are exclusively used in connection with the transfer. The example is the brokerage. Say, for example, you have sold one house property, but you have paid the brokerage on it. So if you have paid some brokerage, obviously you are not supposed to pay any brokerage if there was no house property. You have sold the house property, that's why you have paid the brokerage. That's why it is something which is wholly and exclusively related to the transfer that needs to be deducted from your amount, because this is not something which you have received. Generally, in the immovable properties, the brokerage agreements works like, say, if I am transferring something to, say, Mr. Arihant, and if there is a broker in between, say, Mr. Arjun, if I and Arihant decides that I will be receiving 1 crore of rupees from Arihant, and there is a 1% brokerage charged by Mr. Arjun. So effectively, I am receiving 1 crore of rupees from Arihant, but from that, 1 lakh rupees would be straight away paid to Arjun. So I haven't received this 1 lakh rupees at all. So effectively, I have received only 99 lakhs because there was someone who did the cut key in between. So who was the one who did the cut key? In our case, Mr. Arjun did the cut key. So that must be reduced. Now that cut key was required to, because it was his business. Now may I ask you one question? If Arjun has done the cut key over there, in which head his cut key would be charged? May I have the answer? Let's have a discussion. Interaction, please. You can let me know. Now, if Mr. Arjun is involved in a business or profession of doing the cut key, that is the brokerage, he is indulged into a full time the business of it, then it would be a business and profession income. But he is someone who is occupied somewhere, who is employed somewhere, he is generating the income from the salaries from his or her employer, then at that time this would be charged at the other sources, right? So anyway, that's something off the track, but just for the little bit of a discussion. So you reach to the net consideration. From that, please put it in the back of your mind, you do not get any inflation advantage when it comes to short term capital gain. The indexation benefit is not given to you. So what do we understand by the indexation? That means my cost of purchasing the asset will not be indexed, will be as it is when it comes to short term capital gain. So obviously two things would be reduced. One is cost of acquisition, another one is the cost of improvement. Let me give you the example. Cost of acquisition is nothing but the purchase cost, as simple as that. By whatever the amount you had purchased, this particular asset would be your cost of acquisition. Cost of improvement. Now, what are the costs which qualifies to be the cost of improvement? First of all, you must identify that it must be a capital expenditure. Say if you had a building and you have done the renovation of the building, then whether the renovation will be qualified as a cost of improvement or not. Some very basic kind of a repairs which you do, those repairs which are revenue in nature, cannot be called as a cost of improvement. It must be capital in nature. Some construction has taken a place, some reconstruction has taken a place, you have changed the outlook of the property. Those kind of costs get qualified as the cost of improvement. We are going to study the cost of improvement as well in the detail. And after that, this is called as the short term capital gain. But let me tell you, there are a few exemptions given to you. You are not supposed to pay the tax directly on the short term capital gain. From that, you get few exemptions too. You reduce those exemptions, you get the capital gain chargeable to tax. What are those exemptions? What are the nature of those exemptions? We are going to see those further. But just for the sake of understanding, I am clarifying the format. Similarly, the long-term capital gains format looks like this. Over there, the only difference is the cost of acquisition and the cost of improvement both will get the indexation benefit. Now, what is this indexation benefit? How it works? Let me just give you the example. I'm sharing this example with you. Say, for example, Mr. Arihant had taken a property of 1 lakh rupees in 1995 before the time he was born. Some people would be like, sir, you are doing a time travel or what? कोई बात नहीं, अर्जुन अपनी एज को छुपा रहा है, अर्जुन नहीं सॉरी अरिहंत, उसके फेस से मेरे को मालूम है कि he is 95 above. Anyway, no worries, let's move ahead. And now he has sold that particular property at 50 lakhs in 2020. Now understand, I'm just giving the example. So there is something called cost inflation index. We are not supposed to go into the technical calculation of this cost inflation index because that has been calculated by the relevant authorities of government of India. We are not supposed to go into the calculation of it. It would be straight away given to us directly in the question. So in CA as well as CS examinations as well as all the professional examinations, they also give the cost inflation index directly. So for whatever the years which are given to you, which are in the question, for which straight away this CII would be given to you, say for example, the CII for 1995 was, I'm just giving the example, I'm not aware about the exact CII. Say it is 350. And in 2020, say for example, it is 1250. So how your cost will be adjusted to the inflation? So please put it in the back of your mind. This 1 lakh rupees needs to be first multiplied by the CII of the year of transfer divided by the CII of the year of acquisition. मतलब के सर हमने जब ट्रांसफर किया उसका CII न्यूमरेटर में आएगा, जब परचेस किया था उसका CII डिनोमिनेटर में आएगा. So 1 lakh multiplied by 1250 divided by 350, and this will be considered as your cost of acquisition. That means, my dear friends, some inflationary benefit is also given to you. Now, how you have got the benefit? Obviously, sir, if your cost is increased, your capital gain will be less. And if your capital gain will be less, you will also be paying the less tax. So that's why your cost of acquisition will be adjusted accordingly. The next question may be from the students, sir, are we supposed to remember the CIIs? No, you are not supposed to. It would be given to you. Now, this is available only in the long-term capital gains. Obviously, in the long-term capital gains too, there are certain exceptions. When it comes to the exceptions, that means the exception is something which will be overriding the existing one. So whatever the existing thing we have learned, generally it does not apply to the short-term capital gain. Generally, it applies only to the long-term capital gains. If there are exceptions, exception needs to be looked differently. Okay. In the same manner, the cost of improvement as well. And to be qualified as a cost of improvement, one condition needs to be satisfied, that it must be capital in nature. आपने चिंदी चिंदी सा कुछ चेंज कर दिया. अरिहंत के पास जो प्लॉट था, उस प्लॉट में जाके उसने वहां पे चिंदी चिंदी सा कुछ रिपेयर कर दिया, तो वो चिंदी चिंदी खर्चे कैपिटल खर्चे नहीं कहलाते. कुछ रिकंस्ट्रक्शन हुआ मांगता है, कुछ स्ट्रक्चर में चेंज हुआ मांगता है, कुछ लेआउट में चेंज हुआ मांगता है. अगर ये होता है तो वो कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर होता है. और मेरे भाइयों और उनके बहनों, अगर कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर होता है तो उसको इंडेक्सेशन का बेनिफिट फिर से मिलेगा. Now here in this case, I have just given the example of 1995, but from the last budget onwards, it was specified by the income tax authorities, there was an amendment that आपको 2000 के पहले के इंडेक्सेशन नहीं मिलेंगे. So if your purchase was in say 1995, then the indexation will apply only of 2000. But if it is of 2001, the purchase is of the 2001, then 2001's indexation would be given to you. But if it is before 2000s, then you will not be getting any indexation benefit of those years. You will get the indexation benefit starting from 2000. That was the amendment. Well, we'll see that later on. See, you may check it 2001 and 2. CII for the year, you may check it over here. Cost inflation index in a year in which the asset was first held by a assessee or previous year 2001-2, whichever is later. ये लोग लैंग्वेज कैसे यूज करते हैं, विच एवर इज लेटर, मतलब जो बाद में हुआ है वो लेना है. तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ ना कि 2001 से लेके दो जो प्रीवियस है उससे पहले का कोई अलाउड ही नहीं करना है. यही तो सिंपल मतलब हुआ इसका. सिंपल नहीं लिखते, इन लोग को मजा आता है ऐसा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड करने में, पता नहीं क्यों. एनीवे, लेट्स मूव अहेड. Now, once you find the indexed cost of improvement, you may take a snap of it. You may write this too. You reduce the exemptions which are available, various exemptions, and you get the long-term capital gains, which is chargeable to tax. And on this amount, this 3x's which you are able to see over here, on this amount, you will pay the long-term capital gains tax at a specified rate. Sir, what will be the rate? The rates we have discussed. Rates depends on the type of asset. Okay, so that is the entire layout I'm clearing. Now, I would go to some of the transfers which will not be regarded as the transfer at all. See, we have seen the definition of the transfer, but they have exclusively provided certain transfers which are not regarded as the transfers. So that means if that kind of an arrangement takes place, you won't have to pay any tax on it because that will not be regarded as a transfer. Even though the asset in question is a capital asset, but if that kind of an arrangement takes place, it will not be regarded as a transfer. So that's what we are going to see here now. You have got the basic idea about the format of capital gains tax. Now, indexation benefit, as I've repeatedly said, you will get only on the long-term gains, not on the short-term gains. So you know how to draw a format of it. Whenever you find any sum related to a capital gains, first of all, draw this format as it is. One more thing which is pending to be clarified is that STT, Securities Transaction Tax. If you have paid any securities transaction tax, for that you do not get any benefit. It will not be allowed as a deduction. So any amount which is a gross of the securities transaction tax will be taken as the full consideration. STT paid is not allowed. Not allowed in short-term capital gains too, not allowed in long-term capital gains too. Securities transaction tax, as the name itself suggests, it is only on the securities. So basically, when you purchase the shares, bonds, government bonds, all such sort of things from the recognized exchanges or from some of the financial intermediaries, you pay the securities transaction tax. For that, you do not get any deduction. Is it clear, everyone? Are you clear with the format of it? So long-term capital gain, check it out again. Full consideration minus expenditure which are wholly and exclusively in connection with the transfer. Reduce that, you get net consideration. Then reduce cost of acquisition. The maximum cost of acquisition benefit you get is from 2001 to. Then reduce cost of improvement. We are going to see the conditions of acquisition, cost of acquisition, as well as the cost of improvement in a detailed manner. But before that, there has to be a bird's eye perspective. We must have the idea about, basic structure, layout of it. And then you reduce some exemptions, and the remaining amount is something which is chargeable to tax. Okay, may I have a Chotu sir confirmation that you have got till now? Everyone, please. Chotu sir. Okay, so we have got it from Miss Mohini. Good to see that. From Mr. Mansukh too, good. Miss Manshi, good. Mr. Bishal too, very good. Let's move ahead. Okay, so the agenda for today's meeting is the transactions which are not considered as the transfer. So let's go to those things first of all. See here they have given the cost inflation index to you may check it. From 2001 it's 100, then they have converted in 2019-20 to 89. So these are the real cost inflation index given by them only, notified by the government of India. Just a second, I'm finding that relevant topic here. Got it. इनके पेज नंबर याद रखने पड़ते हैं नॉनसेंस सब. हाँ मिल गया आया. Transactions not regarded as the transfer. Okay, let's move ahead. So what do we mean by this? The question gives you that this is the capital asset. You are able to identify it's a capital asset, falls within a category of capital asset given by the income tax, but still not regarded as a transfer. So first one is total or partial partition of HUF. So say for example, there is a Hindu undivided family. Let's take the example of Mr. Mansukh. Now Mr. Mansukh is the karta of his HUF. Some people would be like, sir, आपने उसको इतना बड़ा बना दिया. Just taking the example, chill. Now he is the karta of HUF. He has 3 children, 1 boy, again a boy, 1 sister. No, matlab ki daughter, sorry. Now one boy has also got a spouse. Another boy has also got a spouse. And daughter is not married yet. Some people would be like, sir, आपने कैसे decide किया? मेरी मर्जी भाई, मेरे को married करना हो ना करना हो, मेरा example है, मैं बना रहा हूँ ना. So not married. Okay. Now say one boy who has got a spouse, he has also got children, say 2 children. Now the problem is that the spouse of these 2 boys are like, 36 ka aakda. Now both the spouses have 36 ka aakda. Every day they have some kind of a conflict. They are not able to live in this joint family. Mr. Mansukh is trying to, manage the things very well, but things are now not in his control. Every day these people are fighting. Every day these people are fighting. Now Mr. Mansukh says that, see Mr. A, you take your spouse and all the assets and properties which are, distributable to you will be given to you, but you are no longer a part of our family now. Oh my God, the family bond is broken. They will be forming a different family, they different HUF now. Now what happens that all the assets which are distributed by Mr. Mansukh to these people, even though it's a transfer of asset, effectively the HUF who was the owner of these assets, now another HUF will be the owner of this asset, because see, they have also framed their own Hindu undivided family. Now this is also regarded as another HUF, because this Mr. A has also got a spouse, they have also have children, and now that would be regarded as a new HUF. So effectively what has happened that the transfer has taken a place from Mr. Mansukh's HUF to Mr. A's HUF. Now, if such kind of a transfer has taken a place, even though the capital assets are transferred, they will not be regarded as a transfer, because effectively only the name of owner has been changed. इसमें टैक्स लगाना, एक तो बेचारा घर परिवार के अंदर घर के अंदर इतने तकलीफें हो रही है, और उसमें भी इनकम टैक्स आके बोलेगा कि तुम्हें टैक्स देना होगा, तो मिस्टर मनसुख की क्या हालत होगी। तो ये ना हो इसलिए इनकम टैक्स ने बोला कोई बात नहीं मिस्टर मनसुख, आप रोइए मत, आपको ये हम ट्रांसफर नहीं कहेंगे, ठीक है। Mr. Mansukh, oh, harsh, thank you very much. So, the partial partition or the total partition. Now, if the situation is not under a control and everyone will be distributed and this Mansukh's HUF will be entirely shattered and everyone would be forming their own HUF now, then it's the total partition. Then also, it will not be regarded as the transfer. Right? So, that is one. Number two, a gift or a will or an irrevocable trust. Any transfer of capital asset under a gift or a will or an irrevocable trust will not be regarded as the transfer. So anything which you give to your family members or to relatives, and it is a gift, it's not something which can be called as a transfer, then you people would be like, censor, ये तो बहुत बड़ा लूप होल नहीं है, तो हर कोई हर एक को गिफ्ट देने लगेगा, तो कोई किसी के ऊपर टैक्स ही ना पे करेगा। बेटा इनकम टैक्स ऐसा कह रहा है कि इट इज नॉट रिगार्डेड एज ए ट्रांसफर, इनकम टैक्स ऐसा नहीं कह रहा है कि इट इज नॉट टैक्सेबल। Now, even though it is not taxable in the capital gains, there is something called income from other sources where gifts are charged exclusively. So, इनका कहने का मतलब यह है कि गिफ्ट जो तुम एक को दूसरे को देते हो उसको हम ट्रांसफर नहीं कहेंगे, उसको इनकम फ्रॉम अदर सोर्सेज में डाला है, क्योंकि गिफ्ट के रिलेटेड देयर आर सर्टेन अदर प्रोविजंस टू, अप टू सर्टेन एक्सटेंट यू आर नॉट सपोज्ड टू पे एनी टैक्स, on certain occasions if you give the gifts like on a marriage occasion or some other occasions, then also you are not supposed to pay the tax on it. The person who receives the gift would be paying the tax on it because he has got the income by the way of gift. There are rules and regulations in the income from other sources that we'll see later on, but it will not be taken as the capital asset transfer. Is it clear? Now there are certain exceptions given over here. और will माने के क्या हुआ कि एक बूढ़े भाई साहब है, उसने विल बना के रखी है कि मेरे जाने के बाद मेरा पैसा इतने इतने लोगों में इस तरह से डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो जाना चाहिए। तो विल के अंदर रिलेटिव भी आ सकते हैं, रिलेटिव के बाहर के भी आ सकते हैं, ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि विल के अंदर हमारे खुद के जो लीगल एसेंडेंट्स है वो ही आए। उनको लगा कि भाई किसी और को मुझे कुछ पैसे दे के जाना है, कोई बात नहीं, दे दो। तो ऐसा कोई विल क्रिएटेड है और विल के ऊपर वो भाई साहब चले गए दुनिया छोड़ के, some people will be like गया अच्छा हुआ, and some people would be like crying like oh गया। now अगर विल में ट्रांसफर होता है then also it is not regarded as a transfer. Or an irrevocable trust. Now see, there are two types of trust, one is revocable trust, another one is irrevocable trust. Now you must have seen that the trusts are built, you know. Now why the people are building a trust? Because they want to get themselves engaged into some charitable activities, some philanthropic activities. अब irrevocable होना चाहिए, मतलब कि जो ग्रांट देने वाला व्यक्ति है वो उस ट्रस्ट के डीड में कोई चेंज नहीं कर सकता, उसे इररिवोकेबल कहते हैं। लेकिन जो ग्रांट देने वाला व्यक्ति, मतलब कि जो पैसे देने वाला व्यक्ति है ट्रस्ट में, वो कभी भी अपने हिसाब से ट्रस्ट की डीड को रिवोक कर सकता है। अगर ऐसे कोई प्रोविजंस है उसमें, तो फिर वो यहाँ पे कवर नहीं होगा। रिवोकेबल को करोगे तो प्रॉब्लमेटिक है। इररिवोकेबल ट्रस्ट है, जिसके ट्रस्ट डीड को अपना जो ग्रांटर है, जो पैसा देने वाला है, वो उसको रिवोक नहीं कर सकता, उसको मॉडिफाई नहीं कर सकता, उसमें चेंज नहीं कर सकता, तो फिर वो ट्रांसफर नहीं कहलाएगा। So that's a gift or a will or any irrevocable trust will not be called as a transfer. However, this clause does not shall not include the transfer under a gift or irrevocable trust of a capital asset, being shares, debentures, warrants allotted by a company employee stock exchange plan, stock option plan. ESOP में क्या रहता है बेटा कि कंपनी है ना, कई बार इनसिक्योर रहती है। हर बार एम्प्लॉइज ही इनसिक्योर नहीं रहते, कई बार कंपनी भी इनसिक्योर रहती है। उनको लगता है कि हमारे अंदर जो है मनसुख भाई काम करते हैं, हमारे नीचे जो ये मिस मोहिनी काम कर रही है, ऐसे ऐसे टैलेंटेड टैलेंटेड लोग हमारी कंपनी में से चले जाएंगे, तो फिर हमारी कंपनी में कुछ रहेगा नहीं। तो उसके कारण वो थोड़े से गिफ्ट देते हैं। उनको लगना चाहिए एम्प्लॉइज को कि भाई वो भी कुछ ऑनर है, तो उनको ऑनरशिप कैसे दे, तो उसके लिए वो ईशॉप्स लाते हैं। अब ये ईशॉप्स है ना, वो इतने स्मार्टली फ्रेम करते हैं ये लोग कि उसकी जो वैलिडिटी रहती है वो 2-2, 3-3 साल तक रहती है। यू गेट सम ईशॉप्स by 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. In some of the time, the more and more conditions you are being eligible to, you will start getting the e-shops. That means you get the shares in the company. That means the person who are the employees will have a little bit of a employee kinda right in a company. Now, if you give a little bit an ownership to them, they feel that the company belongs to us. तो उनको लगेगा कि हमारी कंपनी है। उनकी ओनरशिप को बढ़ाने के लिए ईशॉप्स दिए जाते हैं। तो अगर कोई कंपनी ईशॉप दे देती है लोगों को एज अ गिफ्ट, तो वो यहाँ पे कवर नहीं होते हैं, मतलब कि वो ट्रांसफर कहलाएंगे। कहां पे कवर नहीं होते? वो ये गिफ्ट में कवर नहीं होते, मतलब कि वो ट्रांसफर कहलाएंगे। समझ में आ रहा है सबको? तो वो कंपनी क्या क्या दे सकती है? शेयर्स दे सकती है, डिबेंचर्स दे सकती है, वारंट्स दे सकती है, directly or indirectly to employees, plan or a scheme allotted to the employees in accordance with the guidelines given in this behalf by the central government. Obviously, they would be doing it as per the guidelines of central government only. उनके मजा है वैसे तो नहीं दे सकते। That will not be included in this gift. Now, when I say that will not be included in this gift, that means it will be taken as a transfer. I hope you people are clear about this now. Okay, may I have a छोटू सा confirmation again? तो मुझे मालूम पड़े कि बच्चे जग रहे हैं, यहाँ पे जाग रहे हैं सब। ओके यार, ये मोहिनी का तुरंत ही यस सर आ जाता है। मतलब मोहिनी मतलब ये टाइप करके रखती है क्या, सिर्फ कॉपी करके पेस्ट करके सेंड कर देना है? मैं तो आपकी तरह होता तो मैं यस सर टाइप करके मैं फिर यस करता तो मेरे 2 मिनट लेट हो जाता। Either she must be very very quick in typing, or she has already copied and she is just pasting yes sir. Oh, but if you are pasting it, then again it's a good idea. बिल गेट्स कहता है ना कि मैं है ना कोई कॉम्प्लिकेटेड काम के लिए आलसी लोगों को हायर करता हूँ, क्योंकि उनके पास शॉर्टकट्स रहते हैं। आई एम फॉन्ड ऑफ शॉर्टकट्स। टू लॉन्ग टर्म करना भाई। Anyway, let's move ahead. Transfer of capital asset by a holding company to its wholly owned Indian subsidiary company. Now, these are the words, please. Please put the focus on each and every word. Now, this is not considered as a transfer. Where we are, find out the topic. ऐसा मत करना कि वो पूरा टॉपिक ही भूल गया, हम किधर थे वो तो भूल गए, कॉन्सेप्ट सीख लिया। बेटा हम यहाँ क्या डिस्कस कर रहे हैं कि ये ट्रांसफर नहीं है। अच्छा, कैपिटल असेट होल्डिंग कंपनी। होल्डिंग कंपनी माने के ऐसी कंपनी जो किसी सब्सिडरी को होल्ली ऑन कर रही है ना। वर्ड्स को ध्यान में रखिए। सब्सिडरी कैसी कंपनी कैसी होनी चाहिए? होल्ली ओन्ड, मतलब कि 100 के 100% शेयर किसके होने चाहिए? होल्डिंग कंपनी के। दूसरी चीज, वो कौन सी कंपनी होनी चाहिए? इंडियन कंपनी होनी चाहिए सर। अगर इंडियन हो, होल्ली ओन्ड हो, तो फिर होल्डिंग कंपनी कुछ असेट्स अपने होल्ली ओन्ड इंडियन सब्सिडरी को ट्रांसफर करती है, तो उसको हम ट्रांसफर नहीं कहेंगे। उसके ऊपर हम कहेंगे कि भाई आपको कैपिटल गेन्स टैक्स नहीं पे करना पड़ेगा, राइट? सो लेट्स टेक द एग्जांपल. Now Jio is not a wholly owned subsidiary, but just for the example I'm taking RIL. Some people would be like, sir अभी तो जियो ने स्टेक सेल कर दिया है फेसबुक को, अभी तो जियो ने स्टेक सेल कर दिया है कोई सऊदी कंपनी को, तो मेरे को मालूम है वो होली ओन्ड नहीं है बेटा, लेकिन सिर्फ एग्जाम्पल के लिए हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं। से जियो इज द होली ओन्ड सब्सिडरी कंपनी। सम पीपल वुड बी लाइक, सर आपने स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक की। ओके, wholly owned. That means Reliance has the sole and exclusive shareholding of Jio Limited. Now, some of the people are not even aware that, sir, Jio का अलग से कंपनी है। हाँ बेटा, जियो का अलग से कंपनी है। Reliance has done the investment in it. अब say for example, if it is a wholly owned, and obviously, if holding company will transfer some assets to the wholly owned company for their business purposes, for their expansion purposes, for their growth purposes, this will not be regarded as a transfer because it is just a physical transfer of the possession. Effectively, if you see, if RIL is transferring to Jio, now Jio is wholly owned by RIL only, so it's an internal transfer, no? इंटरनली तुम अपने हिसाब से एक रूम में से दूसरे रूम में जाने दिया, तो ये क्या ट्रांसफर हो गया? ये मनसुख भाई मस्त सो रहे थे एक रूम के अंदर, तो वहां से कबाट लेके किसी और ने दूसरी जगह पे जाने दिया, तो ये क्या ट्रांसफर हो गया? आपने एक ही घर के अंदर एक जगह से दूसरी जगह ट्रांसफर की, और क्या किया? क्योंकि ये होल्ली ओन्ड है ना। होल्ली का मतलब क्या हो कि 100 का 100% होल्डिंग किसका है? रिलायंस का है। और वहां पे इनकम टैक्स आके बोला होगा कि ओ हो नो 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 नो, यू विल हैव टू पे द टैक्स। अरे भाई, मेरे घर का मामला है, तुम क्यों इंटरफियर कर रहे हो? मेरे को जो असेट्स देना है वो दो। तुम कौन होते हो मेरे को ऊपर रोक लगाने वाले? तो दैट्स व्हाई इट इज नॉट रिगार्डेड एज अ ट्रांसफर. आई होप यू हैव गॉट द लॉजिक बिहाइंड इट. Now see, they have given the conditions. The parent company must hold the whole of shares, मतलब कि पूरे शेयर्स। मतलब ये हुआ कि किसी के पास 5 शेयर भी है ना, तो भी नहीं। 100% मतलब कि 100% पूरे। सब्सिडरी मस्ट बी एन इंडियन कंपनी, इंडिया की होनी चाहिए। इधर रिलायंस कोई सबसे होल्डी ओन्ड सब्सिडरी स्विट्जरलैंड में लागेगा लाएगा, तो सीजन वाली कंपनी है, तो वो फिर ट्रांसफर कहलाएगा। रिलायंस अगर कोई कैपिटल असेट स्विट्जरलैंड की कंपनी को ट्रांसफर करता है, though that Switzerland's company is a wholly owned company of Reliance, but it is not an Indian company that has been registered and incorporated in the Switzerland. It will be regarded as a transfer, right? Let's move ahead. अब ये उल्टा हो गया। अब रिलायंस जियो को कर रहा है, अब जियो रिलायंस को कर रहा है। तो ट्रांसफर ऑफ कैपिटल असेट बाय अ सब्सिडरी कंपनी टू इट्स 100% होल्डिंग कंपनी बीइंग एन इंडियन कंपनी। तो ये मतलब हुआ कि इस वाले केस में आप देखना, एक छोटा सा क्लू है। नाउ सी, दिस काइंड ऑफ एन इंटरप्रिटेशन क्लू is not required at your level, but here in this case if you identify this, no, it is compulsory for the wholly owned subsidiary to be an Indian company in the first case. It is not compulsory for a holding company to be an Indian company. See, parent company must hold whole shares, but it is not given that the parent company should also be an Indian company. I hope you are getting a little bit of a crux on this. So it's not a mandatory requirement for a holding company to be an Indian company. In the fourth one too, the transfer of capital asset by a subsidiary company. So here in this case, it is not mandatory for a subsidiary company to be an Indian company to its 100% holding company being an Indian company. तो बीइंग एन इंडियन कंपनी कौन सी कंपनी, तो वो होल्डिंग है ना, वो इंडियन कंपनी होनी चाहिए. So just for our simple understanding, let's take this example again. Now in this case, say again RIL is there and Geo is there. Now in this case, Geo is transferring something to the RIL. ये किसका मामला हुआ, घर का मामला हुआ. अगर घर का मामला है तो फिर इनकम टैक्स को उसमें इंटरफेयर करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. घर का मामला क्यों है, क्योंकि भाई ये जियो के अंदर 100% होल्डिंग किसका है, RIL का एक तो है और कोई यहाँ पे है ही नहीं. Okay, let's move further. Till now, as everyone got this, again let's have a छोटा सा confirmation, क्योंकि मेरे को है ना आपको ऐसे जगाते रखना है, मेरे को ऐसे सोने नहीं देना है बच्चों को. कुछ कुछ सब्जेक्ट में फिर बच्चे सो जाते हैं, उनको लगता है कि वो चलेगा, चलो मैं तो आराम से मस्त सोऊंगा. Good. So till now everyone, oh my god, that's 11:45. I guess your next lecture would be started in some time. Let me take one and then we will. अच्छा नेक्स्ट वाला थोड़ा सा डीमर्जर से रिलेटेड ही है, तो वो बाद में देखते हैं. कोई बात नहीं. तो अपन इसके बाद वाले जो ट्रांसफर्स है, जो ट्रांसफर नहीं कहलाएंगे, वो बाद में देखते हैं. टिल नाउ इज everyone is clear? I've got just an confirmation. Just put your attendance over there. Give your enrollment number in the chat box, and once it is done, then you may disperse from this lecture. Bye bye. Take care. Sayonara. Enjoy the rest of the day. You may share your doubt or a query if you have any. अपने प्रधानमंत्री से थोड़ा सीखिए, मन की बात बताइए. कोई पूछ भी नहीं रहा है फिर भी मन की बात बताइए. Enjoy your day. And if you are stuck, then the only way I can get to know about whether you are stuck or not is that the interaction, right? So if there is no interaction, obviously the communication would be stopped, and I'll not be able to know that whether you are getting or not. तो कहीं पे ऐसा लग रहा है कि सर स्पीड हो रही है या तो फिर नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, तो एक हम्बल सा मैसेज डाल दीजिए हिचकिचाहट के बिना. That's it. Bye bye. Take care.